Welcome, and I really appreciate that Simon here from Spire, Manager for the maritime part of Spire, have joined me today in a conversation around data and partnerships within the maritime space. So welcome, Simon.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. And the conversation today really lingers around that Spire and Sea North are announcing a strategic partnerships around collaboration on the data side. So, of course, it's the conversation could linger around today around what is the partnership about, but equally talking about why is it that we find it important to partner in the industry around data, and also to linger the conversation more over to what does that do and what is the benefit of the industry players of more startups, technology companies working together across the industry. But maybe, Simon, you could just give us a quick introduction of yourself and Spire.
Yeah, that's very good. Spire was founded about 8 years ago, Silicon Valley based, and we are a data company that is founded in satellite infrastructure. So we have satellites that orbit the Earth and we collect data. And indeed, I'm heading the maritime business units, which is one of the 4 business units that we have in Spire. The other is aviation, weather, and in-orbit customized satellite services. So no, it's great. It's great to have met you. It's great to team up with Zero North, and I think we can do a lot of things together. I feel that the philosophies are very similar on our views on data and the maritime world. So Søren, yeah, thanks for asking about Spire, but what about Zero North? Can you update the audience on that?
Yeah, so Zero North, it seems like an eternity since we launched the company, but actually it was in July last year that we officially named Zero North, and January 2020 that we announced that we were spinning this off Maersk Tankers. So we are a technology company that is providing software solutions to the tramp shipping industry with the purpose of really digitalizing shipping for the shipping for the climate. And currently we are having 10 customers. We have 1,300 vessels, 1,300 vessels using our software. And of course, the foundation and where we come from is our heritage, which is mainly out of Maersk Tankers, where we were born and bred. And now we have been spun into an own company. But then last year, as well as we announced, we have Cargill coming in as a strategic partner and shareholder in the company as well. So it is really Zero North is really coming together as a independent company that is strongly rooted within our owners and be able to use that network, not only the knowledge but also some of the data that they can provide into the company. So I think that is where we're coming at, and that's where we're going. And the vision is really to create a technology leader for the industry, which can aggregate and implement solutions of driving more money out and reduce the CO2 emissions.
Yeah. Very good. So Maersk and Cargill as a shareholder. Any other shareholders in your company?
No, those are the main shareholders.
Very good.
You talk about technology and having an equal mindset. And when you talk about equal mindset, maybe you could give a little bit of your views of data and like where is data for the shipping industry and where the future of data for the industry.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, we share the same vision that data is no longer a nice to have. It's absolutely a must to have. And the companies that will survive and excel in the next decade are those companies that can use the data to their advantage, that really have the data enabled and activated to make better decisions, to be more efficient, to be safer, to improve the climate, to reduce the negative impact, be more efficient, all of that. So the companies that are not thinking data now and not thinking how they can use it within their processes are definitely not gonna survive from all the others in there. So what we try to do is to give access to the best and most useful data in the maritime and maritime weather industry to do things like vessel performance optimization.
And that's exactly where the partnership comes into to play, because Zero North is all about taking multiple data sources and put them together in order to help the industry optimize the TC and reduce the CO2 emissions. And I guess it's no secret from our side, being a technology company, being 1 year old, if we are looking, as you're saying, for companies that is thinking alike towards the same. And it's about scalability. It's about really aggregating a massive amount of data. But then, as you also rightly turn that into action. So what should I do? It's not about building dashboards. It's not about making more data available, because I think there's quite a lot of data out there. But it is about turning that into action. So what should I do?
Yeah.
I guess as well, it's data is like such a, everybody talks about the data being an asset class of itself, right? And I guess Spire, you build out a business of data, so I guess you agree that data is an asset class of itself.
Absolutely, data is an asset, although people don't know, and there is much more data sometimes in company than they even realize, and there is much more data sitting in your own company than you realize that you can make use of. We've seen that in many parts of our own company. Selling data is actually also meaning that we ourselves need to get all the data that we have in the company. You must have seen the same. There's so much data in the maritime industry, but do people really use it? And I guess that's what you are enabling as well, right, with your company?
Yes, and that is around making sure that data become actionable, as already said, but it's also around taking the right data, right? And it's no secret that in our company, we did screen the market. We did look across the industry to see, okay, where do we find a strategic partner for the AIS and the weather data side of the industry. And here we have selected to team up with you guys on the Spire, especially on the AIS signal. I think you come very far on not only providing the AIS data itself, but actually work with the data and make it even more tangible. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what you've done with the AIS signal data and how that flows in back into Zero North and the data set that we are partnering around.
Yeah, so AIS data is location data from vessels, and we have been collecting that for the last 8 years. We've built up our satellite constellation to around 100 satellites now. We collect the satellite data AIS. We do it also via terrestrial, and we do it also via terrestrial receivers that are on vessels and transmitted back via satellite. You need to have these 3 technologies to have the best coverage in the world, particularly in the high traffic zones, where it's been in the past quite difficult to do that. The beauty of satellite, of course, is that we do it in the open ocean, and that is true for location data, and it's also true for the weather data. That is really our strength, that we can see any vessel, anytime, anywhere.
And if I'm not all wrong, you also then model some of the data when you receive it, so you don't sell it's not just the raw data source itself, but you do quite a lot of modeling around the data side that you're getting in.
Yeah, we do both. We have the raw data coming in. There's a handful of people that can reuse it in the raw format. We clean it, we aggregate it, we enrich it with more data around the vessel, the location that we know. As you know, the data itself and the standard itself is not super clean. There are sometimes duplications of identification numbers or duplication of names. We filter that out, we clean that. And on top of that, we also do some predictive analytics that we make available. So where will that vessel be at what time, and which route will it likely take based upon historical data?
Yeah. And so the partnership here really takes on the AIS signal, takes that data set and then converts it into combining it also with your weather data, but also with multiple other data feeds around, making it at the fingertips of the operator. So what can I do, right? But if we should then talk a little bit more about, so this is a concrete example of what we do on the AIS. We could also just quickly touch upon what is that you guys do on the weather and how we pull that in.
Yeah, weather, I think, and particularly the combination of the weather and the AIS data is something where Zero North can really excel. Weather, as you know, is of huge influence on almost anything that we have here, and also particularly on vessel performance. We use, with our same satellites that collect the AIS data, a technology to measure humidity, pressure, and temperature in the atmosphere, all the way up from the surface to the Earth to about 30 kilometers. And we do that by technology called radio occultation, which is the diffraction of the GPS signal, how it transfers to the atmosphere. The beauty of it is that we do that across the entire planet. So also in the middle of the Pacific, in the middle of the Atlantic. And in the past, it has been proven that weather on land is significantly more reliable in terms of accuracy than weather in open oceans. We see that we are making the difference. We just have enabled a few dozens of satellites with this technology to collect the weather data. We will install it on all our satellites. And that will create, and we already see that, and it's confirmed by other people, significant improvements in forecast. And that is hopefully and most likely making a big impact on vessel performance optimization when you use that optimal open ocean weather data.
And then it comes back to partnership, right? Because one thing is having the data available, but then converting into US dollar and CO2 emissions, I guess, is the trick around partnerships. And one of the challenges when I look across the industry of partnerships is almost like the revenue model, and it's easy to see a way. Okay, I buy data, and then it's a vendor versus a customer relationship, and then okay, what is the strategic angle? So what I like about our discussions throughout this process is really around not only having a customer-vendor relationship, but actually taking resources and knowledge and insights from one company to another and helping each other. So from our side, like giving input on what we're seeing on your data and where can you improve on the data side, but on your side also giving some of the strategic knowledge that you have around weather and lead that back into CO North, so that we combine the thinking of enabling that data set.
Well, absolutely. And I'm looking very much forward to the experience that Zero North brings in, and that you bring in from a ship tanker operator and from a commodity cargo trade operator, to see where else we are still can improve. Our data systems, our satellites are flexible, are upgradable. The feedback that we get from you guys in terms of, okay, what if you would be able to measure more on wave heights? What if you would be able to be better on salinity? Because these things also affect the vessel performance. That's what I'm hoping to get out of this partnership as well. Your experience that you have in your company with a shipping background and a commodity trading background and other relevant maritime industry is something that we don't have, not at the level that you guys have. So I'm really looking forward to get the first feedback, and to get the first feedback from your customers as well. Because you are talking to customers that we would probably not be talking straight to ourselves. We lack that knowledge that you have.
Or maybe we will talk to them in a different way, right? Because if you would talk to them, you would probably talk to them as they would buy your data set, but they will probably not have the ability to translate that into software solutions as we are doing, right? Yeah. And I really think that is the whole effect here of when we show something and we make it visible, then it is the operators that is seeing the outcome of it, right? And they are seeing it being combined with AIS, with the weather, with the market, with the bunker price, with the vessel specific, which is equally important, right? Of saying, okay, all of those combined, what do that do to my operation? Yeah. And now with CO North having 10 customers and 1,300 vessels using the software, that turns into, I think we are around 40, 50 day-to-day operators using it, right? And we do get that in instant feedback, because often operators, they are ex-captains or ex-seafarers, and they know exactly what, like when they're sitting and seeing something coming out and saying, hey, that doesn't make any sense, or it could be even better if we could, as you mentioned, wave heights or currents or whatever other part of the data set. And I think that is, you say it's a data network effect that I think the partnership can create, not only on the one-to-one feedback from a user, right? But it's actually also to be able to see from a software from our side, because we are doing pure software. Where is it that the users are clicking? What is it that, where is it that they're jumping out? What is it that they are deep diving into? And be able to feed that back to you guys and saying, okay, so how can you actually improve your service? This is an industry that is like, they are super busy and very lean, right? It's not that the industry can just hire an army of people of optimizing. because the cost of that fixed cost, right? So it is around how do you actually get more out of the workforce you have and the very good people already by providing with them with that. So it's combining the data with the people, of course.
The more data you are getting, the more different type of vessels that you have, and the different circumstances with different cargo, with different loads, with different kind of fuel, on the different circumstances, your route gets better and better, gets optimized every time more.
Yes, because it is pure algorithmic approach to this, right? It is pure machine learning and AI that is doing those kind of optimizations. But of course, it has to be combined with the deep knowledge from your side on okay, what is weather, right? Because I think it's a whole complex part of in its own. So it's not just ones and zeros. It is also.
And this is where there's a lot of room to grow, Søren. We talk about weather. I mentioned temperature. I mentioned wind, humidity, but it's also salinity. It's currents. It's tides. All of these. I mean, there is a lot of detail here. There is tidal waves. There is wind waves. All of them are quite different, having an impact. So there is a lot to grow. Our weather product is enriching as well as we are growing, as we're adding more satellites to measure the maritime weather. We really want to be known
for that, Simon. So how many satellites is it that you have now in orbit, and what is the plans?
So right now we have approximately 90 satellites, and we will go around to 150. We want to keep around that number. That is more than enough, considering that our satellites get more and more efficient every time we launch. We're going to launch this quarter, Q1 2021, approximately 8 to 10 satellites. And the production of these satellites are already a 4 or 5-fold than they were maybe 12 months ago. So,
and last year you also, if I didn't get it all wrong, you actually launched quite a few last year as well, right?
Yeah, we launched, there was some delay also to COVID, believe it or not, but rockets are also impacted by COVID because people couldn't travel to the rockets and so forth. But I think we launched approximately 25 in 2020. Yeah. A little bit less than we anticipated, but as I said, we have been actually increasing a lot the satellite's efficiency, our ground stations that collect the data to download it faster. So the combination of more efficient satellites, faster ground stations, better software on the satellites, and that's the thing that we continuously update. There is new technologies coming out, also in the AIS. As you might know, I mean, you probably know, VDS data is in there. So we are working on that. We are doing testing with that. There is weather data coming over AIS. And we have a very flexible platform, one of the few probably, that can quickly change things. And the reason for that is that we own the entire value chain. We design the satellites, we build them, then we operate them, and we control the download of the data as well as the ingestion and the cleaning. So I think we're the only one that actually can control that entire process on how you collect the data and how do you deliver it.
And that is exactly why this partnership for me is valuable for Zero North, right? Because that is a deep domain knowledge that we are looking for in a partner, one that really understands and collect the data on directly, and not collecting from somebody else and just enriching it, but really having deep domain knowledge. Because when our software engineers and PhDs in algorithmic start working with the data sets, all of those questions comes up. And that is where it's super important to be able to spar and have insights and discussions, and not just consumer data set, but actually being able to understand where is it coming from. If you should talk a little bit about where do you see this, like, let's say we had this conversation in 1 or 2 years. So what has happened in this industry and where are we going?
So in 1 or 2 years, there will be way more customers subscribing to Zero North services, becoming more efficient. I would say slighter routes, more efficient routes, less congestion, less emissions. Also, I think there will be some companies that will find each other. I mean, like-minded companies like ours will quickly associate with others more. So I expect your partnership also to extend to others. So that will benefit both of us. And I do believe, particularly on the weather side, that there is still a lot of room to grow. I mean, location, I think we have solved that problem for a big part. But making the weather more reliable and more accurate, this is, I think, where we can gain a lot.
And that's probably when we're looking ahead, right? Then more and more data will be available.
Yeah.
And then it is around, I think, those partnerships that will survive and on the longer term is partnerships that is taking data and aggregating it and making it actionable and turn it into, okay, what should I do, right? Yeah. Because I think it's like anything that we've seen is if it just becomes available, that doesn't change any behaviors. So how do we switch that data set to become into actions?
Yeah, absolutely. Actions and reliability, that is definitely a key part to activate this.
So Simon, I want to thank you so much for joining today. I think we've covered a lot of grounds around both like what are you guys doing and how does that combine with Zero North, but also we've talked quite intensely around so what is next on the data, but also why is it that partnerships is important in the industry and collaboration, and really showing the industry that collaborating is the way forward.
Yeah.
So I really want to thank you, and we really look forward to continuing our work together with you guys.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I'm very much looking forward to meet up again in this format in 1 year between Zero North and Spire. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.